right, and welcome today to another Platform Academy. I am glad to have you joining me. I'm Sharon Barnes, your Platform Outbound Product Manager, and today I'm going to be your guide. So we've charted an exciting course ahead, full of discovery, hands-on demos, and hidden gems. Before we get started, let me share just a few quick logistics. These presentations are crafted with you in mind, and our goal is to inspire you with fresh ideas, practical use cases that will help elevate your understanding of our platform tools. And this session is being recorded, so if you miss anything, it will be available on our community Platform Academy forum in about a week. So feel free to fire away as we're going through with your questions during the presentations. Please post them in the Q&A session so that our amazing panelists can address them. And then after the event, there will be a quick survey to help us improve our content for everyone. So also want to make sure we cover this as we head into the presentation. Just a quick reminder for Safe Harbor. We might share some new exciting features today, so just make sure to keep everything compliant with those Safe Harbor best practices. And as I mentioned before, I'm Sharon Barnes. Many of you have seen me here as a host before. For those who have not, let me share a little bit about my path that brought me here. I joined ServiceNow as an employee about 7 months ago, but my ServiceNow journey started 5 years ago. I've worked from business analyst to developer and then to platform owner across a variety of customers and partners. And basically that's just to say I've walked that same path of learning how do you do the things in ServiceNow that you are all going through. So I'm honored to come to you as a ServiceNow employee nowadays. Previously, I've been a developer in VP for 3 years in a row, a Women Now leader, and a next-gen instructor. But let's go into our actual topic that I'm hoping you're all excited to hear about today, which is an admin's guide to Now Assist. Let's see what we have on our agenda. So today we're going to be covering just that initial, where do I get started with my Now Assist implementation? Next, we're going to dive into, once we've got that going, how do we track what Now Assist is actually doing? Then I'm going to go through a live demo through some of those key interfaces that we're going to talk through during the presentation. And at the end, we'll make sure to have time for your questions. So make sure those come through Q&A. All right. So the first question we've got to cover is, what is the Now Assist Admin Console? This is essentially your base camp. This is where you get started and have that faster path to value for implementing and governing Now Assist. So no matter what workflow product, this is your one-stop interface, whether that's going to be with ITSM or HRSD or even a custom skill. All of that is going to be accessible to activate as well as to monitor through this one console, which is great, but where do we find that? The way to find this is you go to the application navigator, so to all, type in Now Assist Admin, and as long as you are in a Vancouver or newer release, you should have this out of box as a console. I will say that while you may have the out-of-box feature, some of the items we show may not be visible in your instance until you go to the application manager or plugins in your instance and upgrade to the latest version, because about every 2 to 3 months, we are releasing new enhancements for this product. The other question that I frequently get is, do you have to be admin to access the Now Assist Admin Console? While yes, it does work as an admin, there are 2 additional roles that can be used to access the console as well. One is for admins of Now Assist, and with that, they have got the full ability to activate, edit, change the Now Assist usage that you're using. The second role is for users, And this is more read only. So this is great for your stakeholders who want to see what's available. It's great for your AI stewards who need to see what's going on, that type of thing. All right, moving into our next part. Now that we know where to find the Now Assist admin console, the next thing to know is how do you get started with your implementation of it? Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is get the plugin for whichever Now Assist product you're doing. So for example, let's say I'm a developer. We've gotten access to Now Assist for Creator. I'm going to go to get that plugin from the store and get the plugin authorized in my instance. Next, I've got to install that application through the application manager. And last, I get to go in and activate the actual skills for Creator that I'd be using, such as flow designer centric ones or application generator, those type of things. So let's dive into what each of those steps look like. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this plugin. With this, you would go to Now Assist for Admins, into the settings section, and you're going to look for the plugin card that you want to implement. From there, you simply click on the actual card, get plugin, and this is going to take you to the ServiceNow store. So when I was a developer, this was the place I would tend to send my platform owner to go and agree to the terms before we started with a new implementation. Once they've done that step, back as that developer or occasionally architect platform owner, I'm going to go ahead and install that plugin. And I do that by going into Application Manager, search for the product that I want, and I'm sure you've done this before. Go ahead and click Install, Confirm. Just as a reminder, you can run that in backward, which means that you can continue working on your other tasks while waiting for that to complete. Next, we've got activating a skill. Now, with activating a skill, I actually have a couple things I like to mention. So in here, you can go in and look for initially the workflow, the product, and then the skill. Now, in Yokohama, we had a great enhancement to the interface here to allow you to start filtering by skill type, status, features, as well as which LLM provider it uses. And then once you've found the item you're looking for, click Activate, and then follow the wizard through to configure and activate your skill. And every skill is going to be a little bit different. For example, most of the creator skills I've worked with have been a one-click activate, and it's pretty much set and ready to go. Others, like the summarization of records, tend to be a lot more involved, where you have options to choose how the summarization works, where it's accessible, which tables it applies to, that type of customization and tailoring it to your needs. So each wizard is a little different as you go through to configure and activate. All right. Moving from there, I also want to point out that if you are on a Xanadu version, so pre-Yokohama, you will actually see it organized not as a list, but as cards by feature. It's not necessarily better or worse, but it is different. I personally like the new one because it's fewer clicks to get to the opportunity to activate a skill. But I do find having things organized by feature was very nice. Instead, to do that same thing, I have to actually apply the filter through the interaction, and then I can still see it filtered the way I want it to. All right, and I am seeing questions about, can we do this in a PDI or only in a client lower instance? You will have the Now Assist admin console, but unfortunately, all of the Now Assist products beyond that are not available in a PDI. So you could see what the interface looks like, but you won't be able to activate any of those skills in a PDI. All right, and then this is our example of options to filter by feature. All right, moving in to our next step. Another great thing to note with this is the ability to manage and governance your LLMs. With this, the current options are for Microsoft Azure as well as the Now LM. And these, we've got two new providers coming soon as well, so keep an eye out for those. But essentially, the goal of this is to tailor which model is used for different types of skills based on your company's needs for compliance, governance, or performance. We've got some great resources out there to help you understand what the differences are and how to best decide which ones work well for you. We've also got some great sessions on the AI Platform Academy on that as well. Another great thing that is built into our Now Assist admin console is privacy policies. Now, what these are is basically embedding governance in the same tool that you're going to be using to activate or monitor your Now Assist products. And what this does is it allows you to manage those privacy policies where they're needed, meaning it's a centralized understanding of how data is handled. And that data policy simply helps to protect sensitive data. And there are out-of-box options that you can use, or you can create your own data kit and customize it for your needs and your specifications within your instance. All right, so that said, let's go ahead and dive into our own Now Assist admin console. So when you first log into your instance, this should be what you are looking at. And with this, let's go ahead and say, how do I find it? The first way you can do it is if you scroll down on that basic admin dashboard, you've got a link to it right here from this card. I will say that's normally how I get there. It's the fastest way for me. But I can also go up to the navigator, type in Now Assist Admin Console, and I get the Now Assist Admin Console right in here. And click on Overview, takes me to that home page for the Now Assist admin. And while we wait for that to load, live demos, they are always a joy. Here we go. All right, so we've got our initial thing. I will say one thing I always keep an eye on is this count right here of not installed. It's sort of my fastest way to tell if a new product has been released that I might want to go out and research. I can also see what plugins are not installed right here. And for me, that's one of my biggest things is knowing what's new, what's coming, right embedded in the instance I'm working in every day. Another tab we have in here is for our Now Assist skills. And this is where you see the products that are actually already installed on your instance and what skills exist there. Now, before we dive into this, I want to make sure we show you how to actually get a product installed for Now Assist on your instance. Before I get there, I'll go straight there. Go to Settings, Plugins, and inside of here, you can search for the ones that are installed. You can also see the ones that are already installed. But let's say I wanted to look at the customer workflows and see the ones for PSDS. So if I click here, this, like I said in our presentation, will take me to the application store or for ServiceNow store, where I can agree to those legal terms and conditions for that. As a platform owner, this is a great resource to understand what it does and understand where to go for these interactions. Now, once that's done, I will say one of my saddest things with our interface here is it doesn't then refresh this to have you have a button that takes you straight to the application navigator to install that product. I have to go ahead and just make my life a little faster, grab the name of this, jump into application navigator, uh, typing application manager, You can also type plugins. It gets you the same place and it's faster. And from here, I'm going to search for that application that I just said that I wanted to get. Here it is. Click on that. And I would normally go ahead and click install, choose the latest version. I recommend, if you can, go for the latest version. You will be missing out on things if you don't. And then you would click install. And that gets you started to where now not only have you authorized and agreed to the legal terms, you have now gotten it installed in your instance and want to go ahead and work from there. So let's go back to our admin console and history, admin. All right. In our admin console, the next step would be to go to our Now Assist skills, pick one of them. For this case, for our demo, I'm going to go into ITSM because I know it is one we've already got installed. And inside of here, I'm going to search for summarization. Actually, that one's already activated. So instead, let's do sentiment. And by searching there, I've got that. Now, other things I like to demo here is that you can search by feature. So let's say I wanted to see all of the ones that relate to incident and apply that. Gets me incident summary, sentiment analysis. So does that same thing. And let's go ahead. If we were to click activate, it takes you through this wizard. And as you can see, there are multiple steps that it's going to take you through. I'm not going to walk it through because it would be specific only to this one skill. And each wizard is slightly different, but it's going to walk you through what you want to use as your input, how frequently you want it to trigger, that type of information. All right. And then also with our skills, I do like to point out you can edit your experiences. So what are the experiences? The experiences are, they're essentially where your users can interact with the different ways to access Now Assist. And I think of it as the default is on the record. So in a record where Now Assist can be useful, you've got that automatically once you activate it. The second option is going to be this Now Assist panel. And what this does is right up here in our top corner. So we've got us, our notifications, how to get help, chat, and this lovely star is Now Assist panel. And you click there and you can interact with Now Assist for your users there. This can be limited by what role people have. It can be limited by which skill it is. So once it's on, it's not on for everything. There's a lot of ability to customize on that. The other one is the context menu. And this is more with our workspaces where you can use that context menu to access it on those types of records and interfaces. And once again, this is able to be controlled by role. You can control it by which skill. So it's got ability to fine tune your access levels and where it's working and how it's working for your end users. All right. And then we've gone over everything I wanted to cover for this demo. So I'm going to switch back for a moment to our presentation as we dive into how to tell what Now Assist is actually doing in your instance. And back one slide. All right, here we go. So once our skills are live, we want to know how they're being used because our stakeholders want data. And essentially, I think of it as, well, we know that AI is a huge driver for our leadership and our customers a lot of times. It doesn't really mean anything until they can show that it is providing value. And that's what Now Assist for Analytics is for. Now, what this does is it's increasing that awareness of what it can do. And to get it, if you've got Yokohama, you should have it out of box. Once again, I do recommend go to store and get the plugin to get it going. With that said, it is really important to note that if you are on Xanadu, you will only have a basic version with 3 tabs. overall health, self-service performance, skills. So if you are looking at this and wish there was more information, I hate to say, join us on Yokohama and you will get an additional 4 tabs and a lot more reporting on all of those tabs. This is where we're adding those additional details and pieces of information. Now, another thing I want to put in here is with this, it can also have 2 additional roles on top of admin that access the analytics. One of them allows them to actually create custom reporting, which is the Now Assist Analytics admin, where you can create your own reports, edit the dashboards, that type of thing. The other is the Now Assist Analytics viewer. And with this, it is reads only. This is where I like for my stakeholders or senior leadership to be able to see what's going on in the instance. All right, at this point, oh, no, we've got the questions being handled. Thank you so much. And let's go ahead and switch over into our demo for Now Assist Analytics. All right, so we're in our dashboard for the Now Assist Admin Console. And inside of here, we look for the tab for Analytics. If you do not have that tab for Analytics, go to the Application Manager, type in Now Assist Analytics, and you will find the store application, which I didn't type it right, so ignore that. All right, so inside of here, you can see I've got not just the tab available for me, but I've got all full 7, so I'm on the newest version, so the March release version of Now Assist for Analytics. And inside of here, let's take a look at what these pages tell me. So to look at this top level, we've got different usage over time. Now you can tailor this by how long ago. I'm going to say, let's see everything that's happened in this instance in the last year. Shows me we look like we implemented about August of last year. Had a lot of usage right here around November and going from there. It'll even tell me what skills were that. We did a lot of customer skills back then as well and break it down. So that's our usage summary. We can also see adoption. I really like this because one of the most frequent questions I get is, how can I tell what department is using it the most? And this is where you can see that detail. You can go in and see they're using lots of multi-turn catalog ordering, that type of thing. You can also see by skill family and even see how many errors are coming up from that and what products those errors are really coming from. And for any of you who are wondering, why is other the highest in our metric? I will say this is a demo instance. We have done a lot of custom skill demos. And so every custom skill we create, we put into other. So that's where you're seeing a lot of heavy weight into that. Next tab we've got is self-service performance. Now the top of this dashboard tells a story. It's going to tell you either for virtual agent or service portal. I'm going to look at both for our demo. And it tells it once again can be adjusted by time. This time I'm going to do 6 months. But it tells my journey of how many queries we used Now Assist for. So how many times was there a prompt that in virtual agent or service portal that could have interacted with Now Assist? From that, how many of those got a response? Within that, it then tells us, okay, of those, how many were resolved? How many of them appeared to give us feedback that they were not resolved effectively? And from that, it then tells the story of what is our resolution rate. So I really like that journey that it tells you within your instance. You've also got some self-service indicators within that you can dive into as well. Then our next tab is skills performance. Now you can either hit the top level, which tells you about all of the different skills that exists, or you can utilize view specific skill detail. For example, this takes us initially to flow generation, but we can do any of these different skills. And I will say, currently we have a small subset that are out of box. You can use this link right here to learn how to create a new dashboard and add that custom dashboard into the skill detail here, so you can see those custom skills. And that also we are continuing to increase the number of skills that come out of box with details inside of this. All right, next we look at Now Assist Guardian. And once again, demo instance, don't have a lot of data here, but this is where you can analyze and see what Now Assist Guardian is tracking, how it's being used, that type of thing. Then we've got our User Search Analyzer. I love this page. Once again, it provides some great feedback that as a developer, I can use to either make our interfaces better or just see what Now Assist is doing for my users to make their lives better. So with this, it tells our story again of how many queries happened for search, of those which resulted in a genius result. Are there queries with QA articles as the result or catalog items as the result? Or are there things that didn't have a result that I should go fix? That is great data. And from that, you can see which channel they're utilizing. You can see what are those top queries and top queries with a result versus ones without a result. So these are ones I dive into. How can I make this better? And then same with knowledge articles and QA or catalog items. All right, then we get into our context menu. We've got some great data in here as well. All of that with acceptance distribution, usage by trend, so where it's being utilized, that type of information. And last is value insights. Value insights is intended to help us understand how much time Now Assist is saving us, whether that is in creating content that we would normally have to write, or in summarizing items and saving us time in things that we would have to read and sort through. So those two items tell a story as well. Now, the next question I normally get asked as a follow-up is, that's great, but what happens if this is not the data that I need? How do I get to that next level? Well, if you get into each of these, there is actually a table that gives you the details on that additional information that you can dive in and build your own reports. I will be doing a follow-up presentation in about 6 weeks where we're going to go through creating your own custom reporting because I got a great use case from one of our customers that's essentially, if I'm tracking a project and this project is allocated to use X number of assists, I want a report that gives me a threshold that when they approach exceeding that number of assists, send me an alert. So that is going to be a future academy coming soon on how to do your own custom reporting within that. If that is a interesting idea to you, by all means, let me know. Reach out through Slack or in chat, and we will make sure that happens. And then back to our slide deck, because that is my presentation.
Hey, Sharon, before you move out, there are two more questions. One that I don't know about if it's feasible to train LLMs to maybe change the way they generate summaries. If you don't know that, we can take that question offline and answer later. And then the second,
For our
yes, please.
first question, with the training LLMs, you are able to switch between the two LLMs that exist. You're also able to do the custom skills where you adjust the prompt to work with that LLM better. But I can also follow up and make sure that we include some links with some additional detail on that in the blog after this event.
Excellent. And then the second one, can you repeat the plugin name for the analytics?
Yes. That plugin is Now Assist Analytics. Or
Excellent.
the
Thank you.
app ID is SN_NA_analytics.
Thank you so much.
All right, great questions all around.
Oh, there's one more in chat I just saw. Can we configure and modify the analytics with value insights?
You are able to, I'm not sure what type of configuring and modifying you're looking to do, but overall, yes, you can adjust those. If they don't meet your need, you can also do custom reporting from those tables and breakdowns.
Excellent. Thank you.
Ooh, that actually reminds me of another great question customers have asked me in the past is, okay, so we've got something going, we've got reporting, but now I've got a manager who wants to know this stuff. Do I have to grant them access to the Now Assist admin console and let them see all of the analytics? Or can I give them just the details they need? All of those individual reports that we had inside of here are available. They're basic reporting and dashboards. You can take and put them on any dashboard. So I love the idea for driving usage of Creator by in your developer dashboard where your developers live to see what their stories are. Show them what creator usage is happening, and you can see how that usage of Assist is going. Or if you've got leaders that need to know specific things about their teams, they can track that by putting that specific report that helps them, whether it's one that's out of the box already created on one of our dashboards, or whether that's one that you custom create and pull in there. All right, back to our demo. And so our key takeaways are that the admin center is intended to be your home base for knowing how to install, configure, and monitor all Now Assist usage in one place. The second thing is that is intended to expedite and elevate your understanding of what's upcoming and new. So this is evolving literally every 2 to 3 weeks that there are 2 to 3 months that there are new enhancements. So make sure that you're keeping track of that and looking for those newest updates so that you can get the most value. Third, the platform is built with you in mind. So it's very essential to look at the data and see how the analytics show Now Assist is being used. And last, we've got that make sure to get ready because we've got our August release coming up in the next end of this month. And with that, we'll be adding a few more LLMs as well as other great enhancements coming to you. All right. And we had some excellent questions throughout. I had a great job answering those as we went. I'm going to hold on for just a few more minutes and go through our wrap up and conclusion in case we see any new questions.
There's one more that we haven't addressed yet on the errors that might appear. What kind of errors could you run into with Now Assist?
Errors that we see with Now Assist can be a variety of things. Are these more for analytics or the actual Now Assist erroring? So if you find problems with the analytics, and we are working to improve that, we figured getting some information to you was best. Not every skill does a great job of showing which specific user triggered the Now Assist, but we are working to improve that every single month. That's a common error that I see with the analytics. The next one is more if you're doing like a summarization or that type of interaction where you're doing errors and it just can't complete an action. For example, app generator cannot create a new app for you if the name that you want the app to have has already been used. It will just throw an error for you. I think I need a little more information. When you get those errors, please make sure to raise a case so that we can work on fixing those and collect them and find the correct workarounds. All right, and we've got a question we've got everything installed, but how would I get started using it from an HRSD perspective? Is there a suggestion or webinar available? I know that the HRSD team does do regular updates with what skills they have. I will say I'm not an expert in any one skill. I am an expert on how do you utilize and implement it, just getting started. But I would look on HRSD and I will look for one and put it into our blog as well after the fact as well. So that we'll have some information there. All right. Well, on that note, if you have other questions, we've got some great academies that are out there. For a crossover with this one, we have our AI Academy, which I think would be very helpful for some of our questions. Also want to point out, we do have this amazing opportunity for feedback. We are always looking for valuable feedback from platform owners and admins about how to use the ServiceNow platform. So feel free to utilize this QR code. It's a very quick form, allows us to reach out to you to set up a time to meet and find out a little more about how you're using the product and how we could do better. Next, I do want to cover, we do have more sessions coming up. Next week, we will be working on code signing, as well as looking at how building workflows to be used in AI agents. And those will be on Tuesday and Thursday of next week. And last but not least, if there are no other questions, I just want to say thank you all for joining us today. I hope you had an amazing Thursday, and we will talk with you next week on Tuesday for our next Academy.